Alright, we're unmuted. Alright. Context. Just gonna be me playing, because I'm pretty sure James doesn't want to play this game anymore. Alyssa's not gonna be joining. I'm only literally gonna be playing this game, and only the last level, to see if I can beat it tonight, since I don't want to lose my muscle memory. I want this game to be beaten. Determination mode activate. And I'm gonna end this stream, or whatever this session is, once I beat it. That, or it's like, if it goes too long again, then I'm just gonna have to end it off there, because, again, I don't want to spend the rest of my life playing this one level over and over again. If I do, then I'm gonna be dragging James along the ride with me. You're going down to the underworld with me, James. So yeah, it's gonna be me, but James is here at least to give me talks. So how was your day, James?
It's alright. Not super eventful, but how was your day?
Just was busy. I had to like rush here because like I was gonna plan to play earlier, but then I had to replace one of my windshield wipers, and I got super hungry, and I had to just go get something quick to eat. So I had a little bit of pho.
Oh, no.
Nom nom nom. Like, what the fuck, guys?
What the fuck? That's the name of a restaurant, right?
What the fuck is the name of a restaurant, and then there's like Pho and King.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of pho restaurants in Washington. Like, anywhere you go, you will see some kind of restaurant, and they will either play off the word pho, or just say like pho, and then whatever. There was only one fireball down there one time, and now there's like 3. Wait, I'm looking at that. Oh, there's 3. Wait, what happened? Last night it was only 1. Now there's 3. Am I going crazy? Every time you load this level, it just has different fireball rates. That makes this game even worse if it has like different fireball rates.
I mean, is it possible that it eventually just desynchronizes from the other elements?
It's possible, yes. But it didn't happen before. Oh, messed up there. That was just mine. Have you been playing more Elden Ring then?
Not yet.
What? You don't want to die more?
Um,
Oh
I
god.
don't know, I just have to be in like the right mindset to play a game that just repeatedly kicks you in the teeth. Yeah.
Depends on the game, honestly.
Hmm.
Ah, I hate these wrecking balls.
Hmm.
Like, just slightly off, and it makes it like a lot harder to get through to the beginning.
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't quite line up with the other trap that you're.
Yep. It's like you have to wait for a good moment, and it's just like
Mhm.
that just seems unnecessary. It's just like waiting.
Yeah, I like platformers that are less about timing and more about your understanding of like the game's movement.
I mean, I'm fine with like a little bit of timing. Like as long as the levels is designed well and not like super.
Hmm.
Oh, I took too long on that. That was my bad.
Yeah.
Like as long as it's not like super like you have like
Hmm.
very little error. It's just like just time it at like some point and it just feels satisfying to get through. This one is
Hmm.
just like you have to time it, but there's like 5 other things you have to time, and they all
Hmm.
have to like it's also luck whether it's sync up. Like if there's a perfect pattern and you it's immediately obvious, then
Hmm.
that's relatively fine with me, even if it's like a super long. But when it's like 5 different things
Hmm.
all have different like timing mechanisms, then that's just like that's not timing. That's just like timing and that not just timing, that's timing and luck.
Yeah. You're waiting for the stars to align, so you
Yeah,
can just.
pretty much. Like that's the last part. That's literally the last part. Cuz like the issue with the last part is that there's so many different moving mechanisms and that the bullet is not even timing. Well, it is timing, but only when you are there.
Hmm.
And that's where it's like it's also an issue with the last part because like there's that little random element because it basically is kind of random because you're not there. You're only like your presence has to make it run, and your presence can vary depending on how you play the game. Up. Well, with actually, one thing that we can talk about while I do this, James. What's
Mm.
your game of the year for this year? At the very least, what's your game that you would highly recommend as your like the game that you played this year is your definition of the best game you've played this year so far?
Mm. Like not limited to games that were released this year.
Yeah, because obviously you don't play all the newest release games.
Yeah, generally not. Usually I wait like a year or so. Um,
Oh man, keep messing up that.
I think yeah, like the one I mentioned the other day, like I think Chicory was probably one of the games that um I just think that like I enjoyed, like overall.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Chicory.
mhm. Yeah, I felt like the kind of the different elements I feel like just kind of fit together well. Um, like the way it looks and plays and sounds,
Mm-hmm.
I think it all feels kind of like very cohesive.
Oh, that was it. I'm second guessing myself. I just want to get to the last part at this point. Like, I passed these first and second parts so many times in various different ways. That I just want to get to the last part. Why does Blanky just blink so menacingly and all the other cats just blink normally?
That's a good question.
Maybe their eyes are dry so much that they have to keep blinking, to rehydrate them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that those fireballs are now at like such a. There's not much of a gap now for that one. You know what? I'm gonna see if that resets it. I'm just double checking to see. It's like, do I exit out the main menu and does that reset the entire whole thing? Because if that's the case, then like this game is still bullcrap. Otherwise, yeah, the fireballs when they first happened, they were at a different sync. I swear they were at a different sync. Oh my god, James, that is it. If you exit the level, the fireballs will have a different sync. God dang it.
Like the timing changes?
The timing slightly changes, yeah. That bottom one, that first fireball right down there, James, that one has an even longer gap now. Like, right there, there's 2 fireballs there, and then it has a long gap. Previously, they had like a very short gap. Now that long gap is much easier for me to deal with. It actually has, if you just exit to the main menu, you actually have different fireball timing. That actually is bullcrap in my book. Because then now you just have to change your... That's like different timing for some levels. And I'm just like, that's not... That's why consistency is one... Consistency is the skill, not RNG. RNG is just that at that point you're just asking for luck. Oh, I'm messing that. I keep messing that fall up because it's just a spike ball. Because I don't want to get too far to kill me. And then... Oh boy. I didn't think that would make it. What's the timing on this one? Short one? One. Also, this one generates 3 different fireballs at times. Okay. Oh man, that was too close. I knew I was too close. Oh, come on. Oh. Dang it. Dang it. God dang it, that pinwheel. I knew that having a different day is gonna throw my rhythm off on the pinwheel. Ah, and I keep doing it too early on the turn. Why did he also have that gap there? It's like, no matter what you do in that gap, it's dead. So why did they have to do that? What the heck? That was lag. I just saw lag. just made it and I jumped too high. I need to get the pinwheel down again. That's my thing I need to do. Okay, that was just a mess up. What's going on with my hand? I know I'm not talking that much right now, but I am trying intense focus right now. Trying to figure out the timing on that again. And I just keep falling. Ah, that was a bad one. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. The world. James, do your best JoJo impression if you're here. Because you're still muted.
My dad came in a while ago and I forgot I muted myself.
Yeah, I was just like wondering, just like, did you forget to mute or are you just actually gone?
Hmm.
Now do your best JoJo impression.
I don't remember anything he actually says besides like ora 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 ora.
Perfect. Apparently, the main character is not a adult. He's actually a teenager.
Hmm.
Why do like a lot of those mangas just make the teenagers look like adults and adults look like kids?
No. Also, why are so many animes set in high schools?
Because that's the demographic.
I mean, I think it would make sense like if it was kind of like early on, like if it was mostly like if you kind of like, you know, if anime was still in its fledgling years and you realize, oh hey, there's a lot of high schoolers that like this, but like a lot of anime fans are like middle-aged by now.
Well, a lot of the original ones. There's still plenty who are just like kids and getting into it.
Hmm.
It's like Nintendo games, where we grew up with Nintendo games,
Hmm.
whether it be from the 80s to 90s. Oh, frick, I messed that up. And yet the demographic of Nintendo is a lot more adult still now, but
Hmm.
there's still quite a bit of kids, and yet they still make the games a lot more oriented to the kids.
Hmm. Yeah. I
So
mean, it's easier to
yeah,
market a game. Like, if a
yeah.
game's made, to be appropriate for children, it's easier to market that to everyone as opposed to, you know, a game that's made for adults and trying to market that be
I mean,
considered
yeah,
questionable to market that to children.
because and also in the sense it's more profitable,
Mm-hmm.
because if you think about it, um, it's like if you have an M-rated game, it's gonna limit who really gets it, even if
Yeah.
kids still buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Call of Duty in a sense. It's like, yeah, kids may still buy it, but it still limits them, because if parents know anything about M-rated games, it's just like they will not buy it for kids. So yeah, and it's also like it's same thing like with Elden Ring. It's meant for adults or like hardcore players, and yet it still sells well. It's like if Elden Ring became like a kids game, like a Kirby game, where you just don't die, you just be like, oh, push back, and you can retry, and eventually you win much
Mm-hmm.
easily. That'll be like, it will sell a little bit better.
Mm. I think FromSoft has been doing, the whole Souls formula long enough that like people just know what to expect.
I know, like that's definitely just their brand now. But
Mm-hmm.
if they ever made like a easy game for
Mm-hmm.
kids, that's a different story. It's like just basically when you make a brand on your development side, like people know you for certain games or style of games, then you know that you kind of like have an audience. But if you want to branch out to a more general audience, you have to make sure the game is available for that. Just like any Mario game, for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. With all the, you've been hearing some of the recent gaming news and everything, how some games are just getting all the 10 out of 10 review scores or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Which games?
Like of this year, right?
Like, just a lot of games just getting good reviews.
Yeah, like Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, Zelda, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder. I'm just like, out of all the big games that have been getting so much praise, do you think what would be your prediction for Game of the Year when it happens on the 7th? Not this
Mm,
year, not this month, which is 7th of December, which I
I feel
still
like
plan to stream.
Baldur's Gate, I think, might be a strong contender because, like, even people who aren't hardcore RPG fans are still like going nuts over it. So, um,
I mean, I'll definitely get it. I'm planning to get it sometime this um um I still plan on getting Baldur's Gate this next month. I at least I hope it gets at least some discount.
mhm.
message DM, but it's a good point to get a quick break.
Ba, 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 ba. Hmm. Ba, 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 ba,
Ba 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 ba.
ba, ba. Dun, 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 dun. Ba, 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 ba.
I say, like, when we start our playthrough with Baldur's Gate, you probably should finish any game that you're currently playing.
Hmm.
Just so it's just like it's a good starting point that you don't have like other games in the mix.
Hmm.
I don't like. I honestly don't think I'm gonna be able. Like I played Arceus. I'm gonna probably beat it within this week or next, and I know Xenoblade's gonna be next. I know two other games I wanted to beat on a bucket list kind of thing. Like on my bucket list, let's see. Yeah, cause like I know Pokemon Arceus is one, and I want to beat Xenoblade 3, and then I got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Hogwarts Legacy, and then Hot Wheels Unleashed to beat. And then I got technically Fantasy 15, which has been in the works for like years to beat 2. I don't know. I don't know. I know I could beat Arceus. I don't know if I can beat any other game within before this year ends.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish up Elden Ring in anytime soon. It's probably a game that I'll probably just like pick at a little bit at a time over the course of the next. I don't know.
What's the fastest that you beat in Dark Souls?
The first Dark Souls game, well, my first playthrough I gave up on, and I came back to it a few years later, and then picked away at that over the course of a few months.
Mm.
Um, then I think my next playthrough, I think I probably finished over the course of maybe like a week or two. But by that point, I'd already kind of knew. Well, I think once you've already kind of seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the hardest playthrough with Dark Souls is always your first time, like learning the bosses. Um, but yeah, I never finished 2 or 3. Uh, oh.
I thought you did finish 2 or 3.
No, number 2, Dark Souls 2, I made it to like the DLC, which is towards, I mean, I don't think you don't have to wait till the end of the game, but it's pretty rough, so it's probably more suited to people who are higher level characters, like towards the end.
Well, I think
So
that's
I've
like the point of it. Then it's like it's DLC. It's supposed to be usually after the game.
Yeah, like I think it's technically accessible before that point, but it's like probably advisable to like play through the rest of the game first. Um, so I made it through like the bulk of the main game, and then um, I basically just have like the last couple bosses, but then I decided to kind of do the DLC before kicking off the finale.
Interesting choice.
Well, if you kill the final boss, I think it just leads into New Game Plus. So, it's the same with the first Dark Souls. If you kill the final boss, it sends you into New Plus Game Plus immediately. So,
It's like Infinite Blade.
yeah, so it's kind of like the DLC is more of end game content, not post game.
Did you know that if you're skilled enough, you can beat that first tutorial boss in Elden Ring?
Yeah, if you just dodge well enough. But if you're just like the overhead slam it does will kill you instantly. Like I had full health and it just hit me and I just like went from full health to 0 like immediately.
Well, it is meant to be a insta kill. It's meant to kill you.
But
At
yeah, I
least
can
at your
see
level.
that if you do manage to dodge that consistently, yes, I could see that.
Oh, what the frick was that?
Although I don't remember what's supposed to happen if you do kill it.
I think, like, from what I saw, is that, if I remember correctly, is that when you kill it, you still, in a sense, die or go to the next area. You just get the rewards for it, really, which is not much.
Yeah. So I stumbled across one of the dungeons and killed one of the bosses in there, but I didn't quite fully grasp the gimmick.
Did you get the pot-headed guy to help you?
No, I helped him out of the ground though, and he's like, "Give me a good swift strike from behind," and I'm like, "Okay." So I took my big sword and I struck him in the behind twice.
Oh no, I was talking about the. Oh, it's probably
Oh,
like.
let me solo her.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
I
I
wonder
thought
if
you were. For a moment, I thought you were talking about the big jar guy.
No. I don't even know what his relevance is to the story. But yeah, let me solo her. It's like, I wonder if he's still active.
I mean, I imagine he's moved on by now.
Probably, but it would be funny that he comes back to it occasionally. But it's also like, I don't even know what platform he plays on, like PS5 or Xbox or PC. I would assume PS5 because that's the original system that Elden Ring is made for. Your PC can handle the power, right?
Of what?
Of Elden Ring?
Oh yeah, it runs fine. Like, I haven't noticed anything wrong with it at all.
Yeah. I just remember that Elden Ring, when it first launched, it was rough. I heard that.
A lot of PC ports are, I think.
I mean, they usually are secondary if you're for developing it for a specific console.
One thing I've wondered is like, why is the architecture for a console so different from a PC? Like,
it's basically like the OS and system, because like, in a sense, for a PC, when you design it, you can design it on whatever kind of console you want, in a sense, because you can have the most powerful rig of all time and you can design it for that. So it's like, it's based on what system you want to develop on in terms of parts, which is basically what your computer's hardware on. For console, you're limited on what what parts they have developed for, and some of those parts are custom made, so you're gonna have to ask for blueprints on that. And then when you also develop on that, they have a different OS system that
Mhm.
then the game has to run on, has to
Mhm.
guarantee to run on, and has to work with every feature on that console, with the controller and everything.
Mhm.
And each console is built differently. It's like you're basically given a laptop or like
Mhm.
a different PC, and you have to exclusively develop on it. And that could be technically worse than your current PC. Then you have to start limiting stuff on it, or better, or whatever. Like you basically people have to utilize for it. And PC can be
Mhm.
vastly different, and I think it's mainly because of the OS and all that stuff. That's really why a lot of those PC ports are like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Part of me wishes that just like I know would be like much easier said than done, but like it would just be so much. I don't know. I think it would be great like if there was just like a common like language, you know, that like all like every operating system could understand.
And then, but then Apple will lose a lot of their own money, and
Uh,
Windows too. Linux is the only open source place, and it's like no one wants to develop on that.
like I just think it would like gaming would be like such a great like it'd be so much easier to connect with people over the hobby like if it was like if compatibility wasn't a barrier, you know.
Well, you would say that, but that's mostly an issue with Mac and Linux people, because they're definitely the minority. Because Windows is pretty much the dominance on PC stuff.
Yeah, or like if you have um like sometimes you'll have times where like people or like if you have a game that's the player base is split between like Xbox, Sony, and PC, and it's like um crossplay is kind of like a feature that's just a lot of developers just don't go for.
I think some developers want that, but the
Hmm.
issue is that PC and Xbox have more seamless than PlayStation, and especially Nintendo.
Hmm.
Because one, their operating system, Nintendo's is so outdated, and PlayStation is so picky that it makes it more jumping over hoops than rather than make it
Hmm.
worthwhile, unless there is like actually a high demand reason for it.
Hmm. Yeah, but like it feels like it's so much easier to connect with over like say if you have like a show you like and you want to introduce it to a friend like um you can just like be like, oh hey, it's on this service, you can go watch it. um like regardless of like what kind of like it's something like I guess it's just so easy to get your hands on like um movies and TV shows and stuff. Like it's not like whereas gaming like games are so specialized that like unless someone has the exact hardware they literally can't even access what is it you want to introduce them to um
I mean, but
like
that's
if
all. Hmm? What?
yeah
Keep going. Keep going. Oh,
um like if you give someone a book they're not going to be like, oh, I don't have the hardware to read this. They just read it,
I
right?
don't have the brain
um,
power to read this.
um yeah, like books are just kind of a universally understood thing for at least among people who can read.
But I
But like,
but my argument
mhm,
there would be then it basically will be similar to books. It's like how like there are different versions of books,
mhm,
like different version of a story in different like styles. Like the biggest one is like some of the biggest ones are like the Odyssey, the Bible, all that stuff. And there's no consistent one, so it's a lot harder for people like with it's similar to PC, where it's
mhm,
like If you're specifically talking about PC, you won't have the exact same experience unless you have like the exact same kind of parts for said like game and all that stuff. But I think like one thing why I like consoles is that it's already forcing the developers to develop on a set hardware for years to come. And even if it gets outdated by PC pretty quickly, it's a set hardware. So you could say like you're buying a like the Xbox, like it's basically like you buy a $500 PC versus a $500 console or $300 console. Like in a sense it's cheaper, but you're guaranteed to always develop on games on it for at least a couple years depending on how well the console goes, right? But PC, it's like you have to spend like a good chunk of money in order to get a decent PC to play with some of the more up-to-date games. But it's gonna get outdated after a year or two. At that point, you're gonna have to lower down your graphics, your everything. So I don't know. I like the idea of consoles because it just feels nice to have like a console that you can guarantee to play a game rather than on a PC where I could, in a sense, like if I were playing on my old like CPU and graphics card, I would be like struggling to play Elden Ring.
Yeah, I guess that's with console. Like if something's released for said console, it's you can be pretty confident it's gonna run.
Yeah, that's why I'm like. That's why I like with like the Switch. It's like it's a weak console, but whatever is developed on it should be playable. If it's poorly running, then that's just more on the developer's fault for not developing well on the console. But that's why it's like with Nintendo or like Microsoft or like Sony, you know that their first party games will be good and run well because you know they developed for said like system. Yeah, if they were like to like in a sense, if they developed for a PC, any kind of PC they chose, there's no guarantee that any of the first party games then you can run. You can get the assumption that they generally need this type of power, but then it's like you cannot guarantee you will have that power. I mean, I definitely say PC is definitely more versatile, and I'm starting to like playing more on PC just because of how much stuff you can play on it. But I do like consoles. This is why I like retro consoles and like even like I still get the new generation consoles because it just feels cool to play a game. Well, not only if a game is developed specifically on that console first, but also I at least know I can run it without worrying about lowering down my graphics down to the lowest settings just to make it run 60 FPS. And some people like just have like really cheap laptops too. They could have a Linux laptop or like even a freaking like MacBook that can't play like 80% of the library.
Yeah. Also, some games just like really hate particular graphics cards for some reason.
Because all graphics cards are designed differently based on their hardware and software. And the more popular ones are obviously NVIDIA.
Yeah. Like I've seen like a lot of reviews for games where people will be like, my game can run the other AAA games fine, but this game just hates my computer.
And I think like that at that point, that is just the developer's problem. Because like in a sense, James, like I can throw an Unreal Engine game. Like I can literally throw in thousands of assets and it's just like let's just say a simple sandbox, you can build whatever you want, campfire kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I give it to you. and I do
Mhm.
I just throw everything I want into that game, and I just do whatever I want, build it, and I just give it to you, James. It's basically built to run only on my style PC, and even then, I basically built it like that. There's no guarantee you're gonna be able to run it well with your kind of PC, even though it's still pretty powerful.
Mhm.
And because I just cobble up anything together, there's a high chance I just threw up unnecessary assets. I didn't optimize a lot of the coding because some code, like there are actual like encoding functions that help mitigate some of the time spent to learn stuff. I could have just done simple like 1,000 line code that has to do like 1,000 steps before it does a thing, which will take like 10 extra minutes per action kind of thing. And that's where it's like in the sense like your PC could technically run this game, at least it should, but it runs at like 10 frames per second for you. And that's why it's like I would need to optimize it to not only mitigate some of that unnecessary loading, but also for people like how low of a recommendation settings do I need. So yeah, if a game is like if people can run other games pretty fine, but not one game, like I know that Mike was complaining about like Ark Ascended and stuff like that. That those games just need to be optimized well.
Mm.
But it also shows how either rushed or not much managing, not good managing was there. Same thing with Halo Infinite. I like Halo Infinite for what it tried to do, but it just they had like 500 people on it, and they could not even finish the game by the time they wanted to release it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I say that's really poor management.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen.
I just say that they like not only too many cooks in the kitchen, but they just didn't have a clear vision for a lot of things. They just like kind of like did like I'm all for people giving people time to develop things. I'm not someone who wants to rush things, but I also am someone who wants to push the initiative of there should be an objective, like an end goal and a clear goal to go from, and at least push to that. If you take too long on something that shouldn't be taking too long, then you're already having a problem. And that's like either you're managing too much at once, or you're not you're whoever you're working with is a little too slow. It's just a matter of just like managing well. I think one of my like supposed goals would be love to working on like Halo. I want to work on like the next Halo game. I want to develop for it. I want to be the creative director. That's never gonna happen. If I ever become a creative director on a Halo game, I will guarantee my word saying that I will make it just like the old Halo games, where it's all about fun and gameplay and the experience, rather than trying to make it a fancy dancy game as best they possible. Like, that's what I liked about like with some of the Bungie videos I've seen, where they were like when they were like talking about the Halo 2 and Halo 3 cutscenes, James. They were like literally like we would watch these cutscenes like 100 times, and we would see if we enjoy it every single time. If we had problems with it as it goes, we would rework it, kind of thing. And it's like that's a good mindset. It's like when you want a game to last long, you have to make sure it has some kind of replayability. in it, where it's like
Mm.
it may not be able to repeat the first experience all the time for anybody, but
Mhm.
it should be able to be experienced. It still has like those chill or those great moments that people would always be like, I want to see this again, just and I'm gonna replay this level again just to see that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's what it's like. That's what I like. It's like when you listen to music or when you play a game, you have to have an essence of this is a fun or this is a thrilling experience to make me really want to play it again because I want to re-experience some of that stuff again.
Mhm.
I think that's what the problem with some games nowadays do is just that they make a game without focusing on the potential replayability. Because again, my firm belief
Mhm.
of advertisement in games, as I said mentioned like yesterday, is the word of mouth advertisement.
Mhm.
No matter how old the game is, it can be like 40, 50, even 100 years old, even though we haven't reached that part yet.
Mhm.
It could be like so old that barely anybody gets access to it physically, but they can access it online or something like that. But it's like it could be so old that if some person in their like friend group or family be like, I remember playing this game and it actually still holds up to this today's standards, that's what lasts the game.
Mhm.
It's the fans, the people who grew up with it, the people who keep it alive. The developers at some point will have to give up on it, and that's just business. And I don't expect developers to keep supporting a game when either they lose passion for it or they want to move on or do like they can't fund it anymore.
Mhm.
Like that's also one thing I don't like about online games is that there should be an option to play it offline. And that's where I'm just like when you make a game, if you want it to last, you should make sure it has that word of mouth advertisement, and no amount of advertisement and money will help you get that. What you have to do in that case is that you have to make sure the people who buy the game, pre-order it or whatnot, beta or anything, make sure to tell like other people, be like, hey, this game is actually pretty fun, I'm actually enjoying my time here. And that's what makes the game last for years to come. And then I think the issue is that with the first part is the getting over that initial hype. Once you get over the initial hype and it's still talked about continuously, it's gonna continue forever. Like,
Mhm.
think about it like Undertale. It took a long time for it to get actually hype. And when you get over that hype, it stopped talking for a while, but it's still talked about to this day.
Mhm.
That game is not going to die. So, that's that's the thing about developers. They just really need to understand that it's the fans, it's the community that really keeps a game alive.
Mhm.
No amount of DLC or extra content you add will keep the game alive if the community doesn't care for that.
Mhm.
You just have to make sure that the community is happy, and then when they're happy, then your game starts skyrocketing. And that's why like games like Halo are considered classics, because they're still talked about today just because of how classic they are. And their first time experiencing is just a magical experience for a lot of people. Which Halo game would you want to experience for the first time if you got the chance to experience for the first time again?
Mm. Actually, I'm not really sure because, like, to me, I guess the whole Halo saga is just kind of like an experience. So,
It
like, just like
it
taking out like
is.
one piece of it and being like, I just want this part, you know. Um,
I would definitely say if I were to re-experience Halo again, I feel like Halo 1 doesn't really have much of a big impact experience. Even if I were to be like I never played FPS shooters ever, or we went back to that standard of FPS shooting, the reason why I say that is it has good music. But again, like the level geometry and stuff like that is interesting enough, but I think the biggest appeal for what Halo is really the flood and towards the end game Warthog run. Like the experience of those. And I don't think like having just that small of experience is not enough for me to say like I would be like this is the Halo game I want to replay. Halo 2 and 3 would be arguable for me because Halo 2 was just a let's put a ton of stuff in, and it just was a lot of stuff. It was hard, but it was honestly kind of fun when you actually get to have someone with you to play too, or just by yourself too, because there were just a lot of like cool moments in that game. Halo 3 was just it from start to finish from that game. It always felt like it's starting to conclude. This is where the final act will always happen. Like every single level always kind of felt like it was almost it was going to be the final act. That's why it's like the final act saga kind of thing. And I don't know about like Halo Reach. I watched a playthrough of that and ODST as well. I don't know if I were to replay them, I would say like I would like Halo Reach more than Halo ODST. I would put it on the top of the Halo games, but it would be like in the top 3. It would be third place kind of thing, because Halo 2 and Halo 3 are like still my gold standard for Halo games. I mean, Halo 2 is chock full of levels, and they still had levels cut from it. I mean, it also helped pioneer Xbox Live. So you couldn't screen cheat anymore. Did you ever screen cheat?
Maybe sometimes. I don't know.
I know.
try not to.
I did a little
Sometimes, like if your peripheral vision, sometimes out of your peripheral vision, it's just
It's hard to.
even you're not like paying that much of attention, but like even to like they're like in a particular hallway where you're like, oh, I know that place.
Yeah.
Like even it just out of the fringe of your vision, you know exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's hard for me too because I have like really good peripheral vision when I'm just like I see people. It's like when we played GoldenEye. I try not to screen peek from you guys, but every single time I see you guys in like a room that I know that I'm nearby or in kind of thing, I just screen peek really briefly.
Yeah. I guess I kind of miss like sitting and playing games in the same room as people. I guess like I don't really miss everything about high school, but like I think the one thing that I do miss was like having a place where like you would just gather with people.
I never really got that experience in high school. My high school experience was pretty sad.
I think I was part of it. I was in theater, so I guess I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with like my theater experience, like just from like doing the play itself, but like just meeting. I guess just like having like a kind of a common gathering place with other like nerds and stuff.
Yeah. I've always legitimately wanted to experience a LAN party. I never got to experience that as a kid. I know that's still possible today, and there's still some games that support it, even in some modern ones. But
Mhm.
setting one up is a pain because one, you need to get like, um, you need to get like a room, then you need to get multiple seats, you need to get a bunch of guys, gals, or whoever wants to join in,
Mhm.
and get a game that everyone wants to do a LAN party with.
Yeah.
Like I never experienced a LAN party, and I really wish I did.
Mhm.
But I do also miss the gathering of people playing like games, like split screen and stuff.
Yeah, because I think like back in like during high school, like because like going to the same school, it kind of tethers everyone in a way. Like you, like the people you're meeting and making a lot of your friendships with are like people who live close and like at least I kind of lived in the middle of nowhere, so it was still a pain. But like, um,
Middle of nowhere. Were you living with Courage the Cowardly Dog?
no, I lived in a city. It's a town that like when I mention it, people will ask like, "Oh, you mean that one in like?"
Yeah.
And like they'll ask if like about one from like another state, and I'm like, not that one. There is one here in Washington. It's just very small.
I was just like, when you used to say middle of nowhere, I'm just like thinking of your neighbors with Eustace Bag, Muriel, and Courage now.
But yeah, the biggest thing in town was the elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, cause like I'll tell people like, oh yeah, where I grew up, there was the elementary school, the post office, and a gas station.
That's funny.
Um, yeah, the so, but at least like, I mean, it was kind of not. It was less than like it was not convenient because like if I had my friends, a lot of my friends that I went to school with, it was kind of hard to convince them because like if their parents are dropping them off, it would be like 40 minutes one way, 40 minutes back, and then they're coming to pick them up, and it's a lot. It's a big time commitment for a lot of my friends. But
Yeah.
fortunately, at least one of my friends I went to school with was like a within walking distance. So,
Yeah.
or not quite walking distance, but like it was like a short drive, like a 10-minute drive.
That's the main reason why I say I genuinely kind of miss school, is
Mm-hmm.
the kind of like the all of us were forced by our parents to go to school to do an education, and when you actually had a good childhood with good people around you, you get to connect with those people. But as we get older, we can't guarantee that we will always maintain connection with the said people. I generally miss some people that I've lost connection with over the years. Like I would like to reconnect with them again. I just don't. I technically have their old contact information. I just don't know if they have the same numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's one of those like I would like to go back to school only for the fact that I like if I were to retake like if I were to go back in time, honestly I would like to go back in time to like high school and or university and then just like meet friends again kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess that was one thing that was nice about being on a campus is like being within walking distance of your friends.
Pretty much that's what it was like. That's why with Stack 8 worked well with us, is because
Mm-hmm.
we were all living together. That's why like after that year
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard for all of us because we were all living in so many different locations,
Yeah.
and then school was on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like even if someone was like, even if I'm on South Campus and someone else is on North Campus, like I can walk to their, dorm in like 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot easier than like when you have friends that live like,
Off campus.
yeah, like, or even just now, like we're, a lot of people that I associate with now are online, and so like I can't just go to Australia or Europe or the East Coast.
Yeah.
Um,
Even us, where we live is like you're like a far drive from me,
yeah, I'm like on
and
the
we're in the
north,
same
yeah,
state.
pretty
Yeah.
far north.
Yeah, we're in the same state, and yet we have it will have to be like it's a hassle for me to go up there and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing for you going coming down here too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like again, like it's one of those things that the dorms were easy because they're always on campus, but yeah, when we started going living off campus, like even when I lived in one apartment complex for 1 year, and that was so far off campus, no one wanted to come to my place because it was just so far off campus. Understandably, though.
I was used to walking, so or busing places. But like then again, I did have friends that like I met my freshman year, and then when I moved to South Campus, they just would not go out of their way to visit me. I was just like, okay. Or not even just like for just like hanging out, but just like like just going to the dining hall. Like I like the only time I would see them is if I walked to North Campus to eat with them. They would not come to South Campus.
I mean, to be fair, South Campus was always full of rumors of being a bunch of potheads and weeds. If you ever guys decide to go to Western, you ask which dorm is the pothead dorm. We are legally obligated. Well, I wouldn't say legally, but we are told not. At least when I was there, told not to specify which dorm. But it will be pretty obvious which dorm it is once you start living there. Because as far as I know, every year I've been there, for the 5 years I've been there, it's always been one dorm. And that's I'm not gonna say it right now. You could probably anybody who knows my streams probably can guess. But yeah. Look, James, I'm floating.
I see. Just don't look down.
Is that Looney Tune character, Wild Coyote or something?
Yeah, Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
Meep
meep. There was like so there's a show called The Amazing World of Gumball, where it's actually a really good cartoon show, and like it's creatively created because it has both CG, real world, and actual cartoons in it, and they play off on a lot of like real life, like current social events kind of thing. And there was an episode where they had the parody with Wile E. Coyote and like Roadrunner, and he was gonna be like dropping an anvil on them, and then one of the main characters was like, "Hi, I don't appreciate this cartoon because it's too violent. You're gonna have kids are gonna gonna copy that." It's like, how are kids are gonna get an anvil? Are you saying you can't are you saying the kids can't get anvil or like something? Like basically goes on a rant like just like any other like internet argument about a ridiculous thing. And then you just be like, okay, fine, let's try doing something else. Like dynamite or whatever. It's like, that's too violent. It's like, well, we tried. And it just ruins the entire show for the other main character kind of thing. It's funny is that even the creators of that show was so popular that it actually has a Chinese knockoff, an official Chinese knockoff, and the creators saw it and they made a whole episode based on that knockoff. Ah! Ah! Ah!
What?
So that whole meme of that sound be like, ah! Ah!
Oh, the
Ah!
snoring guy?
Is that the snoring? I don't know what that's from. That sounds from.
Hmm.
All I know is that it's a meme thing. That's all I know. I just don't know where it's from. It's every time there's an
Oh.
open mouth, they'll be like, ah, ah.
Yeah, it's the guy snore. It's a snippet of a guy snoring.
That's a snore.
Yeah, but when you take like just a snippet of it like out of context, it just sounds like someone going, "Oh."
I mean, that the issue is that how does that guy start with that kind of sound? Ah, ah.
Hmm.
It's like that's not even a normal sound. I still like it. It's like a little bit of a tradition. You know that meme where... hold on. There we go. Okay. You know that meme where
This is
the...
the sound you're talking about.
Hold on. Yeah, that's
Well, I
it.
believe. Yeah.
What kind of sound is that for snoring? Also, that can play it on stream, but yes. Yeah, what kind of snoring is that?
I don't know.
Do you know do you know the meme of that boyfriend who bought like $1,000 like Mary for his girlfriend, and it's like this is how it's going, and he's just staring at the ceiling in bed while she's hugging the Mary. You know that meme?
$1,000?
I think I would say 1,000, but it was like it's pretty expensive. It's like a few $100s.
Why? Was it like handmade?
I just have to look up the Mary again. Let me look it
Like,
up.
I guess if something was like hand stitched, and I can see that, but
Giant Mary plush, 45 inches.
oh yeah, if it's big and custom
$500.
made.
It's $500.
Yeah, large plus custom made is a recipe for a big bill.
It's also sold by the official Pokemon company.
Oh, okay, so it's.
But yeah, there's a meme of like a boyfriend just being like, "How's it going?" And he just stares at the ceiling while the girlfriend just sleeps with the Mary, and that became like a funny meme. And they still do it every single time there's a giant new plush. They get another giant plush, and she just hugs it in the corner while the guy is just getting longer and longer hair.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, 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 ah. Again, how do you snore like that? I'm still questioning that. If that's supposed to be snoring, like, what?
Good question.
Good question.
Mm.
I had a random question. Did you ever grow up with Mario Party 3?
Mario Party 3? No, I had Mario Party 6.
I thought you grew up with some of the N64 games of Mario Party.
No. Yeah, Mario Party 6 was like the only one that I played. I briefly had, well, not briefly. I think I had a friend who had a Wii, and I would sometimes play Mario Party 8, I think, at their place on occasion. one time in it was summertime, and like my mom just let me stay at their place for like 2 weeks because she was just like, fine, whatever. Like, what else do I do with like? Otherwise, during the summer, I would have just spent my entire summer alone. It's like, yeah, like, I don't know. I really kind of hated living out as far as I did from the city. It's like, it's really hard to convince anyone to actually hang out with you.
Mm-hmm. I get that feeling. That's why I'm glad the internet is a thing, because where it's like now you can live anywhere and still hang out online in a sense, even if it's like you're not meeting them physically anymore. Yeah, having a day break wasn't really worth, is what I say. I'm still
A
playing.
daybreak.
Yeah, like having like 24 hours basically away from this game doesn't really help. I'm starting to realize that my muscle memory is still the same, and I'm still struggling at sort of the same parts. But I also realized that the freaking fireballs change pattern, which is frustrating, and you have to know the pattern for them now.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, oh, oh.
I've been out like a light, and I'm just now starting to wake up.
Oh, that was it. But I cowered.
My body has been pretty much drained. It was pretty much drained since yesterday, so I had to.
Ah!
How's everything going with you two?
James and I just talking while I try to beat the stupid level from yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Been at this for like 2 hours now.
Jeez. I need to get my cat food. Hold on.
If the fireballs were just not there or never change, this wouldn't be that bad. Well, then again, this level's not bad. It's just stupidly long.
My cat's like, oh my god, food. But yeah, today I had a lot of things going on.
Dang it. No, that was a good one.
Wait, a good thing happened?
I'm trying to focus on this thing. That's why I'm commenting on that thing.
Hmm. My body is still like groggy as heck. Oh. Nick, are you streaming this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I just want to beat this level, but I only want to beat it on stream. So I can prove myself
Makes
that
sense.
I done it. That fireball took too long.
Agreed. Oh. Is this the last level?
This is literally the last level. And I've been at it for like 6 hours, about 5 to 6 hours yesterday. I'm already at 2 hours right now.
Oh.
At least
wow.
7 hours has been developed on this. And it's not like, it's not a matter of like, its difficulty is not hard. It's a matter of the developer, whoever developed this level specifically, added too many things, make it unnecessarily difficult, and they in 4 different sections. And 2 of the sections are relatively okay for me to get through. The third section is pretty easy for me to get through. It's just the last one where you have to basically time it. There's no breaks in it, and it's a long shot. You get 1 hit, and if you die, you have to start from the very beginning, and it's a trek to get there. So it's basically the reason why this level is difficult is because I barely have any chances to get to the end, and once I make it to the end, I start messing up because I don't have time to practice it. It's just because the developers decided to make this game so long, no checkpoints, and add too many unnecessary things to make it difficult. Also, the fireballs suck in this game. Almost killed myself there. Oh, that was it! I knew that had that feeling. I just jumped too high. I got a feeling that somebody's watching me. James, I need a song. Sing something. Game, sing something for me.
Hmm.
Anything. He's not singing for me. Oh, come on. Why do I keep missing those jumps?
Man, I keep forgetting how good Vampire Hunter D was.
Vampire Hunter D?
Yeah, it's a animated film based on the graphic novel. Vampire Hunter D had 2 films. The second one was done a lot better than the first. The first one was it was okay, but Bloodlust was the one where it's probably really shines. And the characters within it, you know, it's got a good amount of like action, but it's more of a, like almost a love story between a vampire, Meyer Link, and a human, Charlotte. And the vampire hunter, known as D, he is tasked with bringing Charlotte back home.
What the heck?
He was hired by her father, and her brother, by any means necessary.
Bring her back and that's just a head, but still alive.
Well, it's not in case what really happened, you know. And the thing is, D, he's a done peel. He is half human, half vampire. And he's pretty much lives forever. He doesn't get a death.
Forever young. Forever young.
Now, he does have a weakness for the sun. But it's not necessarily like Blade. You know, he does have characteristics of a vampire, but you know, the sun they call it more of sun syndrome.
Oh, oh my God! Why didn't I react to that?
Oof. Lee has to bury himself often if he takes too much sun. You mean you don't need to know too much about D
Give me the
because
D.
the two films say pretty much all that you need to know, really. The only thing is, I'm not even too sure on who the Vampire King is in this story. Like,
Yeah.
they've mentioned him time and time and time again, but within the two films, you don't necessarily get that answer.
James, give me the vampire D. Give me the vampire D. Do it now. Do it. Do it now.
But yeah, it's both of the films are really good in their own respect. It was a film that I used to grow up watching when I was younger, and it was really good. Yes, I know Bloodlust focuses around the love kind of aspect between the human and vampire. And, you know, D does have competition with the Marcus brothers. And they're the brothers are more like necessarily cannon fodder, really. However, the girl, she is more relevant to the story than anything else. And eventually, D does end up showing up at her her funeral because he upheld a promise to her. She was afraid that she would die with no one to mourn her death, and that's not really what happened. Her granddaughter tries to invite D over to her house, but he was just like, I'm just simply here just to keep a promise to an old friend.
Old friend indeed. They're dead.
Well, D lives forever. He doesn't get to have a life. He's
Get a life.
practically a cursed. He's pretty much cursed to walk the earth endlessly. And I can understand how he really is more of lonely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, he's a rich person indeed. But I think what he ends up doing with a lot of that money is that he turns around and he gives that money over to places to help them. Because in this day and age, the vampires are almost extinct. And when the last vampire is around, D's going to be the only one left of both. Although I will have to read the graphic novels at some point because I've been really curious on wanting to read them, but we'll see what happens.
Ah!
I'll
I
prob-
keep messing up that.
I feel so much better now that I'm kind of like awake and just.
That's what happens when you wake up after a long sleep. You feel groggy at first, but when you actually get active, then your body starts waking up.
It's just my body's been kind of feeling groggy ever since I woke up this morning at like 8 o'clock.
It might be because you slept at the wrong, like you had an incomplete REM cycle. If
I
you
have
don't
no
sleep
idea.
if you don't sleep at the proper REM cycle, you do feel groggy. It's scientifically proven.
Hmm.
That's why I say like having normal hours of sleeps and also not having too much naps is essentially what you need for a good life balance.
I try not to. I'm trying to only take, if I do a nap, like an hour is what I'm trying to go for.
Mm-hmm. Hour.
Sometimes my body just needs that extra rest. Especially when, especially for working wise and stuff like that too.
It depends.
You know?
It depends on situations, but I would say an hour is what you should keep going at no matter what. Because doing too much, then your body starts thinking that's the rhythm of your sleep schedule. Because our bodies work on a rhythm. If your rhythm is to sleep a lot during a night and then sleep more during the day, then that's what your body's used to. Sometimes you have to force your body not to do said thing in order to not be in said thing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So it's one of those things is that you just have to work on getting a better rhythm is all.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
The nice thing is, one of the people that I had helped out with their server, I had asked them to see if I could join their server and see what they're up to.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Yeah, yeah, you can feel free to go ahead." So that way, it'll give me a chance to kind of take a look at the server, see if there's anything that they want improved or anything like that, and help them out with it.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to do this stuff more of for free because I enjoy it, rather than trying to like charge people or anything like that. I don't want to.
I charge you donuts. Give me free donuts and then you get your thing.
Uh-huh. I mean, I could go and do that tomorrow if you wanted me to.
Don't do it. I mean, I haven't had a donut in like forever, but no, don't feel like it. I'd rather have like maybe a couple donuts rather than have a whole box of donuts to eat in a week.
Oh no, I was thinking of only getting like maybe a thing of maybe 6.
Nah, that's more
Half
reasonable.
I normally do.
That's more reasonable for us, especially since Emoto... Does Emoto eat the donuts?
She has one every now and then, but not too often.
Yeah, so I was like, it's mainly you and I don't want to eat too much sweets. I've been, again, trying to watch some of my diet still, so...
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so like, having like a box of 4 donuts or a box of 6 donuts is more reasonable to me than having like a pack of 12 donuts. That's asking too much.
Like I've been losing weight kind of rapidly, and I'm like, I don't understand how, but okay.
Losing weight revolves around a few things. Again, it's all about a rhythm, and again, it's all scientifically proven. Outside of like obviously eating diets, right? Eating correctly and everything. It's all about also psychological rhythms where it's like you have to sleep on a regular basis, like good rhythm time, and then exercise regularly, and then also, and if you just don't want to eat like healthy snacks, at least eat on a regular basis where your body will get hungry when it knows it's hungry. It's like same thing like when you feed Bagheera at like 5 or something, right? When you're
Yeah.
when you know when it's like hits that time, then it'd be like your stomach, your body will be like, okay, it's time to eat. Then it starts getting at rhythm, because if you do it inconsistently, your body starts getting into this hibernation mode each random time you go to bed, because when it goes to bed, it conserves food so it can sleep. But when you're active, it starts, you need to do stuff kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's basically losing weight is pretty much live a healthy lifestyle. You don't have to push yourself too much. Like it's not asking you to lift weights or do a jog of 10 miles. No, it's what basically means is just like just have a healthy life balance, and that's it. And then you'll lose weight naturally. It's slow,
Like,
but it's
the only-
natural.
I wish science though could be proven with everything. The only thing, sometimes science can't necessarily prove everything.
I'm not saying it proves everything.
Oh no, I'm with.
I mean,
I'm
sometimes
with
when you're
Ned,
studying
look.
things that are, like, I guess with people who have like so many different genetics and stuff, so like sometimes it's kind of hard to pin down.
I mean, I was thinking like,
Yeah, for me, I wish it could. Like, I wish that it could to have like the answer for anything and everything through science.
well,
But
that's also
technically, that just isn't the case.
well, that's true, but I'm just saying like in this case though, it's proven
Yeah.
with science. Like your body can be was like people's bodies has been studied, and since we still all genetically match, it's still the same. But yeah, not everything can be proven with science, like emotions and stuff. There's statistics. And
Unfortunately,
that's it. Yeah, there's statistics and
And
everything.
faith.
Yeah.
Faith is another thing.
There's a lot of things that isn't like isn't math or scientific based, but at the end of the day, it's just what matters is there are facts about life, and there's stuff that you just have to roll with the punches. And I think and what comes with your body specifically, Mike, it's definitely just you just have to, that's facts of life.
Yep, that's true.
So at that point, it's just like you could basically argue that this is not a thing or something like that to anybody. Just like how climate change is apparently some people this doesn't exist. But there are so much factual evidence that things do exist.
Yep.
I still like that. James, have you seen that what college humor videos of when Google was an actual person?
College humor was a person.
No. Like College Humor, you know the whole old school 2000 stuff, right?
Yeah.
They made like a short 4-episode series about if Google was a desk job person.
Oh yeah.
I like how one of them was like, it's like one person was like, climate change is not real, and then he just throws down a huge pile of evidence like climate change is real, and then the girl was like, climate change in quotations is not real. And then he's like, pulls out one paper and be like, I knew it, it doesn't exist, kind of thing. It's like, how do you enter the dark web? Gets in the cape gown and it's just like, follow me with keys. And then when he goes to bed, it'd be like, Google is down! It's the end of the world!
There's like, I think there was like part of the skit was like someone asking Google for porn, and he's just like, really?
It's like, college girls. Hot college girls. College girls with, or something like weird. And it's like, here, alright. Guy unzips his pants, like, really? And then there was like one of the end skits, it was like the Boston bomber. And it was just like, that's a tragedy. And then just like the Boston bomber's eyes. It's like, oh, for F's sake. Because people are weird. Ah.
Oh god, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this now.
Oh my god, I
think
hate
the
that
half I
fireball.
need is right there.
I just want to do my theory. And this level still is like, let's go through these other parts 1,000 times before you get through to the end. If there was a checkpoint system, this would be a heck of a lot easier. I really hope like a level creator where just like watches these videos and actually just apologizes to how much pain and suffering they cause with some of these levels. Just want to beat this. If I can just beat this tonight, I'm home free. I really do want to beat this, but this is already taking me 3 hours to beat again. It's like, this is again, like, why did they ever make a level like this? I seriously wonder how long it took the developers of this game to beat their own game.
That's a good question.
I really think it should be a standard where game developers should be, I wouldn't say a standard, but they need to know how like their games are not designed for them. but designed for other people. Because I don't like it when some game developers like they can beat their own levels easily because they know how it works. They know all the tricks. They know all the timing.
I know what you mean.
I'm hearing background noises on your end, James, for some reason again.
Trying to figure out.
think
Because I
your
know right now
microphone's wrong.
I'm playing Dead Island 2. And I'm like, okay, because I remember passing by a specific area that has a blueprint and stuff in it, and I'm like, God dang it, I don't remember the location. And it's driving me nuts.
Well, can't do too much nuts because it's no nut November.
Oh, never mind, I already have it. I just now remember, I was just now thinking about it, I was like, oh, that location at where I exited. Woo! You just now figured that out.
I guess I could have sit down there. James, I think you need to check your Discord microphone because I'm hearing background noises again.
Because I only have two in. Oh, it either says default or real text. Those are my only options.
What's your default on your Windows PC? Because you have to then check the sound on that. Because I am hearing background noises from you.
I'll take a look at it.
I don't have anything because I know for me, I've been trying to make sure I don't have anything.
I just don't want too much echoes or random noises coming from background, especially if they're potentially copyrightable.
Well, tell you what, this place is creepy as heck. Made for the next DLC, but I have a feeling we're gonna be waiting a while. I do have to say, you know, it is. This new place is pretty cool to kind of get used to. And it puts a new spin on freaking. On Dead Island's lore.
Mike, I think you're so far away from our internet that you are becoming robot.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you are becoming robot-y.
Here. I'll try to put it as close as I can.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal in a sense, but I can barely understand you, yeah.
This stupid thing sometimes.
It's more of like the modem from like Comcast. It has such a low signal.
Part of me is wanting to kind of just save up for freaking a more powerful one that we can just get ourselves.
I mean, at this point, Mike, I feel like if you want to get a house, you're gonna need to get a more powerful modem.
That's for sure.
Ah! Oh my fudge!
You finally
Whee!
got it?
I will totally give you a middle finger if I wanted to. Double the middle fingers! Ah! I'll give you a pinky. Ugh.
You finally beat it, huh?
Hmm.
I actually am just laying down on my floor right now. I need to lay down. Fudge! Ugh. Ugh. God dang. Literally, it's done. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours and 15 minutes right now. So if we add that to yesterday, that took about 7 to 8 hours to beat that entire level.
Hey, beating it must feel like an accomplishment.
Not really. It's one of those things that it feels less of an accomplishment just because it took such a long time to beat. I'm only doing this just to test out something. I'm only curious about this. How? Oh, what the? Oh, there's a secret? Oh, we could have skipped this level so easily. I'm actually genuinely curious now. Where does that go? Wait, that's it? You can't get there?
I just realized that my my camera has a speaker in it.
Yeah, no, all webcams have a speaker.
Oh, has it been using my camera as my speaker, as my microphone this whole time?
It can, yeah.
Okay, I can't tell.
Oh, so you need a second player to do some of these stuff. Okay. Oh, well, nope. Not doing it. Bloody Trapland is done. I just wanted to just curious about some of that. If you cannot get there without being on your own, whatever. It's done. I'm deleting it. All the save data is going to be gone after this, but it is gone. It is done. It is done. I'm not playing that anymore. We can move on to Bloody Trapland 2, James, later. And it'll be much better. Oh, Hall of Fame, only 3.2 players have that achievement. I'm gonna sneeze. Ugh. Maybe I'll just save that save file for another day, but I'm not touching it again. Oh my god. Oh. Well, that is done. That is done.
It is done.
It is done. Now I can raid someone and call it a night. Cause I'm not streaming any longer than this. I said basically once I finish it, it is done. I'm my stream, and I was kind of hoping to be a very short stream and just be like done, but no, it took 2 hours. 2 hours to beat it. I know I went to Lopez before. Andre, Frosty. Oh man, I don't even know who to stream. Like, well, okay, Lopez, I've rated before, so I'm not gonna rate him again. I don't know. I did Frosty in a while. I haven't done Andre. I'll do on Adrenaline, like. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna call it there. Anyway, anyone who's lurking, thank you so much. Sorry it took me so long. It was pretty boring. Anybody who watches the entirety of this series, one, I appreciate you. Two, you're a madman or woman or whoever you are, to watch even the 2 sessions, like last one and like the one other one that were just like no progress has been made. So yeah, no, I appreciate whether you watched it live or watch it some other time in the future. I don't know. It just took so long. This is like Markiplier with Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that. Yes, I beat Trapland. It is done. I'm not playing this again. This is probably one of the worst games I've played in 2023. But if I get another game, it'll probably be beaten. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I beat it. We're calling it there. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Stay safe. I'll catch you guys in another stream. Will it be mine or someone else's? Thank you so much.